Hello, welcome to the mechanics class. In this class, I will discuss photoelectric effect. effect. So I will cover what is the photoelectric effect, and then I will discuss experimental observations, then I will discuss the classical physics concept to understand the experimental observations. And then I will discuss the Einstein quantum theory. To explain or to understand the experimental observation of photoelectric effect. And then I will summarize the class. Okay, so let's begin with the photoelectric effect. Then the experimental results of the photoelectric effect. And then I will move to the classical physics theory to explain the results, and then later Einstein quantum theory. So the photoelectric effect was first time discovered by Heinrich Hertz in 1887. In 1887, Heinrich Hertz he discovered the photoelectric effect first time in laboratory. Okay, so a schematic diagram of the experiment setup. So this is the high vacuum glass tube. This is the photosensitive plate. This is a glass window to illuminate the photosensitive plate by the light. And this is another metal electrode or metal plate to collect the electrons. And this is emitter, and then this is the DC voltage source. This is light source. So when light of, or we can say the radiation of a certain frequency incident on this photosensitive plate, see that due to the interaction of the radiation and then matter, the electron from this photosensitive plate will emit, and these electrons will experience a force due to the electric field between the both plates C and A, and then this electron will be captured or will be collected by this plate A. So in this way, this path will be closed, and then see the current in the circuit. So these electrons which are emitted by the illumination of certain frequency radiation, we call these electrons as a photoelectrons, and the current which is flowing in the circuit due to these photoelectrons, we call this is the photoelectric current. So just denoted by the IP. So they perform the photoelectric experiment with the various conditions. Let's say the variation of the IP with frequency of the light, variation of IP with frequency of with intensity of the light, variation of IP with potential difference between the plates, and then also with the reverse polarity of the battery. So what were these experimental results? So now I will discuss these experimental observations one by one. So first, the experimental observation was variation of IP versus frequency of incident light of radiation. So this is photoelectric current IP, and then this is the frequency of incident radiation. And they observed the variation like this. It means in this frequency range, there was no current. Current is zero. It means no emission of photoelectron. And then beyond this frequency, mu 0, we see a increase in the photoelectric current. It means the emission of photoelectrons take place beyond this frequency of the incident radiation. The second result was variation of photoelectric current versus intensity of incident radiation. And they plotted the IP versus intensity of incident radiation for a given material. They observed a linear relation between the IP and I intensity. Okay, it means when we increase the radiation intensity of the radiation, incident radiation, then current in the circuit is also increasing, means photon emission, sorry, the photoelectron emission increases with increasing the intensity of radiation. Third observation was variation of IP with potential difference variation of IP versus variation of IP with potential difference between the photosensitive plate C and plate A. Okay, so the result was so they performed the experiment with the two intensities radiation, and they detected the current, photoelectric current for the both intensities. So for this radiation of intensity I1, they observed that there is a finite current at potential difference between the plate is 0, and then initially it was positive and negative. That time electric field was in this way. Then electrons are easily reach the plate A, and then the current is observed in the circuit. But when the polarity of the battery or the power supply is reverse, it means C is the positive and then plate A is negative. In this case, the electric field is direction is C2A. Therefore, the electron will feel a force in this direction. So only those electrons which can cross this barrier, or the energy is higher than the potential difference, can reach the plate A, and corresponding that those electrons will contribute to the total current in the circuit. So initially, when we increase the negative potential difference, so current in the circuit is decreasing, and then at potential difference V0, current is 0. It means at this point, there is no electron is reaching the surface A. Okay, it means these, even the higher energetic electrons which are flowing with the velocity V max, now stopped by this potential difference. Okay, so it means there is a potential barrier. So electrons do not have the sufficient energy to cross that potential barrier, and all the electrons are stopped. So we call this the stopping potential. And then what they observed in the experiment, they observed that this stopping potential is common for the light of the same frequency. It's common for the light of the different intensities but having same frequency. Okay, so this was the third result. The fourth one was the variation of this stopping potential versus frequency of the incident light. What they observed, the stopping potential is nothing but it is the kinetic energy of the electrons, maximum energy of the electrons, and they observed for the two different metals, photosensitive materials M1 and M2, and they found that so the V, the stopping potential, is increasing with increasing the frequency for both sensitive materials, but after a threshold frequency. Okay, so up to here there is no stopping potential 0, then it's increasing the linearly with increasing the frequency of the incident radiation. Okay, and then the last, the observation was the time gap. Last observation was on the time gap between the incident radiation and then emission of the photoelectrons. It means, let's say this is the material, photosensitive material, electrons are here, then the material is illuminated with the light radiation, and then let's say electrons are emitting from the surface. So they observed that, experimented that there is a no time gap. It means delta T is the 0. So this is the instantaneous process. It means there is no time gap between the incident radiation and emission of the photoelectron. Okay, so these were the main experimental observation of this photoelectric experiment, or main result of the photoelectric experiments. But now the question is that, is there any theory to understand these results, or classical physics, the concept of the classical physics can help to understand this theory? So these were the question that time. So let's try to understand these results, experimental observations, experimental results based on the classical physics, the concept of the classical physics. So in the classical physics, we know that the light radiation is nothing but this is the wave, electromagnetic wave. Okay, so in this concept, the radiation, let's say if we assume the radiation, we assume the radiations are waves or electromagnetic waves, then can this concept help to understand the experimental results? So let's try what the scientist thought that time to understand these results. They used the classical approach to understand these results. So I will discuss one by one. So if, let's say this is the photosensitive materials, and then electrons are here. These are, we can say it's free electron, but these are not completely free. It's all the electrons are confined in a potential well. Okay. So inner electrons, outer orbit electrons. Like this. Okay. So if the radiation is incident, it means wave is interacting with the matter. Matter means the charge particle. Okay. So wave means there is electric field component varying with the time. So these charge particle will start to oscillate with this wave electric field, or these electrons will respond with the electric field of the wave, and then so they will again re-emit the radiation of the same frequency. But we increase the amplitude. If the amplitude of the wave is increased, it means, so definitely amplitude increasing means the electric field component is increasing. So strength of electric field increasing means force on the electrons is increasing. So if this electron will start to oscillate, and then so let's say this is the upper limit of this amplitude for this electron, and then it's crossed this amplitude here, and then this electron will be free. It means with increasing the intensity of radiation, it means we are increasing the amplitude of the electric field, and that amplitude of electric field means we are increasing the energy of the electrons, and that electron can be free if the electrons gain a sufficient energy from the electric field. Okay, it means if the amplitude of the oscillations will increase and then it crosses the limit, then the electrons can be free. Okay, and then these free electrons will be the photoelectrons, and these electrons will take part into the photoelectric current. Sorry. So if we use this concept to understand the first result of the experimental observation of the photoelectric current, experiment, result of the photoelectric experiment, then we know that this is the experimental observation. In this range, there is no current, but then current is increasing with increasing the frequency. Okay, but if I use this concept, it means the IP is increasing with the intensity of the light. Photoelectric current is proportional to the intensity of the light. It means amplitude of the electromagnetic radiation. But it doesn't depends on the frequency of the wave. It means there is no dependency on the energy of the photoelectrons. There is no dependency of frequency on the energy of the photoelectrons. It means the kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is not a function of frequency. So classical physics says that there is a no relation between the energy and the frequency. So there is no concept of the threshold frequency here. It means as per classical theory, the current should increase with increasing the frequency from the lower value to higher value. It means we should get current at any frequency. It doesn't depend on the frequency, it's only the function of the intensity. It means the photoelectrons it means the electrons can emit from the surface at any frequency wave or the radiation of any frequency. But this is not true. The result says that there is no current. Classical physics says that there should be current at lower frequency also, because there is no dependency of current on the frequency. But we see there is a dependency of the frequency on the current. It means the classical physics failed to understand this result. Okay. Now, if I move to the result, that was the current versus intensity linearly variation. It's okay, fine, because the classic physics says that the intensity means the amplitude of the electromagnetic wave or strength of the electric field. So if you increase the field strength, then definitely the number of the photons emitted from the surface can be more. or the energy of these photoelectrons could be higher. Okay, so this it means there is a definitely the relation, the function, because the ip is a function of the intensity, and then this relation is there. Okay, so this results can be explained by the classical physics. It means the classical physics explain the current variation with the intensity very well. So now move to the third one, third observation. Okay, so I already discussed this result. So classical physics says that the kinetic energy of the electrons is proportional to the intensity of the radiation. Okay, and then stopping potential, this is the potential. So we know that the equation, the energy ev0 is nothing but it is equal to the maximum kinetic energy of the electrons. So if I illuminate the materials with the two intensities or with the radiation of two intensities, then because as per classical physics the energy of these electrons or maximum energy of the electrons should be different for both intensities, but we are getting the single intensities. Okay, so classical, as per classical physics, if the intensity is higher, then this v0 should be higher. Intensity is less, then it should be some value. So as per classical physics, the result should be in this way, but the original experiment results are here. It means single stopping potential for the both intensities. So this again, these results couldn't explain by using the concept of classical physics. So classical physics again failed here. Then if you go for the fourth observation, the stopping potential means the maximum kinetic energy from here for the two different photosensitive materials M1 and M2. A variation of the I stopping potential with frequency of the incident radiation. So the stopping potential is increasing. It means the kinetic energy or maximum kinetic energy of the electrons or photoelectrons increases with increasing the frequency of the incident light. But the classical physics says that there is no relation of the kinetic energy, the frequency of the incident radiation. It means if you increase the frequency of the incident radiation, then there is no change of the kinetic energy of the photoelectrons. It means these graphs, these results couldn't explain by using the concept of classical physics. So the classical physics again failed here to understand these observations of photoelectric experiment. Then the last observation was the time gap. So there was no time gap. It means incident of the radiation and then emission of the photoelectrons. Okay, so there is no time gap. So this is the instantaneous process. So if we use the classical concept here, and this is a metal, photosensitive materials, electrons are here, and then radiation means the wave is interacting with these electrons of the matter, and then the energy of this wave will be distributed among the electrons of the materials. Okay, and then these electrons will gain the energy from these waves field, then emit from the surface of the material. So until unless these electrons will not gain a sufficient energy, they will be on the surface or in the potential well of the iron core of the material. Okay, and then so this because the energy is distributed among the all the electrons, therefore these electrons will take some time to gain a sufficient energy. It means delta, it means there would be a finite time gap between the incident radiation and emission of the photoelectrons from the photosensitive material. Okay, so but the observation there was no time gap, but here the classical physics says that there should be a time gap delta t, finite time gap. It means, so classical physics concept again failed here to explain this observation. Okay, so then so what next?